Did you know that our brains don't look at every part of a book cover equally? We're just going to have a cozy chat today. Instead, they look for something called visual hierarchy. That's just a fancy way of saying that our brains like to know where to look first. And that really got me thinking. So, a few days ago, I asked a question, and it was if you had to guess, what percentage of a book cover should the title take up? And thank you to everyone who chimed in on that. So here's what I discovered after going down many different rabbit holes. Who's right? Well, no one is actually right that I was able to find. I wasn't actually able to find any research paper that says what percentage of the book the title should take up. So I guess there is no real magic number, but there was a lot of research about how our brains process visual information. And I think that that's actually a lot more helpful than asking the question of what percentage of the book cover our title should take up. So we're talking about looking at it from the perspective of, can somebody find and read my book title easily? The research that I was able to find on visual hierarchy tells us that when we look at something, our brains are trying to organize what we see. They're trying to decide what's most important, where we should look first, and what information we actually need. Now, I'm going to be the first one to admit I've already published 2 children's books, and I did not take into consideration any of this at all. Nothing. The other thing I've never taken into consideration was thinking about the readability of my book cover at a thumbnail size. Honestly, never gave it a thought. I never stopped to consider the readability of my book cover when it is shrunk down. And to be honest, a lot of people shop for books online. So now that I've started learning more about the research, it's really changing the questions that I'm asking myself. Instead of going about just, do I like my book cover? I'm asking things like, can someone read it right away? Do the illustrations compete with the title, or do they work together? If someone sees my book cover as a tiny thumbnail, are they still going to be able to read it? The other thing that research I found talks about is why contrast matters. If your book title blends into the background, or if your font is too thin, or there are too many things competing for attention, the reader has a harder time reading your title. And so research tells us that when something is easier to process, it's easier to understand, and it's easier for us to remember. So if you are designing your own book cover or you're working with an illustrator, I'm wondering if the question we should be asking is not how much of the book cover should the title take up, but rather, can somebody read my title quickly? Does it stand out without taking over the entire cover? Does it work together with the illustrations instead of fighting against it? Those are probably the questions that I am going to be asking myself from now on as I move forward in my self-publishing journey. Because even though I've published 2 children's books, I am still learning a ton. And yes, the self-publishing journey can be frustrating, but all of this learning is also part of one of my favorite parts, I think, of the journey. The more that I learn about self-publishing and the science behind children's books, the more intentional I can be the next time I am ready to publish a book. I would really love to know from you, did today's answers surprise any of you?